All right. Well, episode 6 of Zach and Martin at the Movies. I'm Martin.
I am Zach.
And this is the second
Part
half of the top 10 list. Part 2, number 5 to 1.
5
to 1. You know what? That is a douchey move. Douchey move. So, we're going to cover the rest of the top 10 movies of 2012 because out of our wish list, there are only 3 left we're definitely going to see, and one of them's already ruled out because it's animated.
And the other one is postponed.
No, Red Dawn.
Oh yeah,
neither of us
about the other one.
Neither of us is going to think is going to make the top 10, and Les Mis, which, although I think it could make the top 10, comes out 3 days before the end of the new year. Therefore,
it's not classified. It's not classified in this list.
It's not classified. We could say it would have made the top 10 had it come out earlier in the year.
Not that I want it to suck, but I just think it'd be really funny just because you.
I'm really excited. I'm excited about this one. So, second half, number 5. If you remember, just a quick recap of the bottom 5 of this top 10 were movies such as Seven Psychopaths, The Expendables 2, Hunger Games.
The 2 worst were in there.
I know what this one was. I can't remember what this one was.
I remember what the last one was.
I know what the last one was, too. What was the one before that? Why can't you remember the one before that? It was...
Seven Psychopaths.
Expendables 2. Hunger Games.
And then we did the bottom one.
Nope, there was... Safe House and
Safe
The Dark
House.
Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2 crappy ones, who cares about those? They sucked.
I know, but those
were covered. They were covered.
I was going in order.
Yeah. So, that's the cap of the bottom half. Now to the top half, we're starting off with Resident Evil Retribution. Let me tell you, if you like the Resident Evil movies...
You'll love it.
You'll love it. It is... it brings back old characters who have since died, and now they're back to fight alongside or against Alice.
It was against.
You finally get one of the key characters from the Resident Evil series in the movie of Leon.
Yeah.
Leon finally shows up
I was excited about.
Yep, as is Ada Wong. Mm-hmm. Both of them finally show up in the series. You do lose out on both of the Redfields.
Yeah, but it wasn't that important anyway, though.
It wasn't that important, but it'd be nice because it looks like they're building up to just one more movie, and it'd be nice if they were all in that last movie.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about if they're the future of Resident Evil in a little bit.
They still can. Still, my favorite, hands down, besides the good part, the most amazing part of this movie, is still Extinction.
I like Afterlife, but they're all good movies.
I just like the awesomeness of when she finds out that she has her powers and everything, and just.
But the one thing we agree on is Resident Evil Apocalypse is the worst. But we'll probably do an entire Resident Evil episode at some point down the line.
Yeah. It's gonna happen.
Resident Evil Retribution takes place now. We said in our Dread review back in episode 2. We didn't like the idea of climbing a building.
Yeah.
Yet the idea of being in a confined pod under an ice cap, we were okay with.
Because
it's wide and vast in many cities.
Because it's many cities. It's not just her trying to get out of like in the first one where she's just trying to get out of the hive.
And that's still interesting. That was
the only part of the first one. But that was still okay because there were different levels to it. Like, although a big building in Dread has levels, it's a boring concept when you hear a building. But this one was cool because it had different cities. Like full cities.
Essentially, this is the primary Umbrella headquarters is where this movie takes place in, and they were testing the T-virus on its effects in various cities. Moscow, New York, Raccoon City apparently was one of, even though it's the only one that doesn't actually exist. And there was 2 other cities, and they each have their own pod that they were testing this on. So it's not just our characters walking through another Umbrella facility. It's them in Moscow. It's them in New York.
In Raccoon
City.
Yeah.
And they fight various levels of the undead.
Every undead or villainous thing that has been in the Resident Evil movies all come back in this one.
Minus Nemesis. Mainly because Nemesis was only one person.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was only one person anyway. But, the hammers, all the zombies, there's numerous zombies in here. The creepy crawly...
lickers.
Yeah, the creepy crawly dudes.
The villain from the first movie. The main antagonist zombie of the first movie comes back. And it's a much larger version. Huge. and it bites someone's head off in a single chomp. That was amazing.
Awesome. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
So that's basically what it is. It's really awesome. They go through all of the cities.
It's a good action movie.
A lot not better than Extinction for me, but
no, it's not better than Afterlife for me, but it's still good.
It's up there. It's definitely better.
It is. Our favorite part of this entire movie, the part that sold us on this entire thing while watching it, it's something that doesn't show up in the trailers. The end, they end up at the White House, and
they're all bunkered in. They're all bunkered in the White House. They walk in,
and all of a sudden you see our 5 main characters: Ada Wong, Leon, Alice. Valentine, Jill Valentine, and
I can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name. Anyway, the main villain of most of these video games and of these movies are all standing there, and it pans out to this massive undead trying to get at them.
And not like, I'm not talking like in Extinction or in the other ones where you get that facility and you have all the zombies going. No, I'm talking full city.
Yeah.
Of every type of zombie, the zombies, the lickers,
the flyers,
all of them are all outside surrounding the White House, the whole city.
It is an incredibly epic shot.
It is awesome. That's what sold me on this movie and the one coming next.
Oh yeah, there's got to be one more, at least one more, and I'm excited to see that one and what they're going to do with it. My biggest problem with this movie was the opening. They essentially explained the last 4 movies of the series. And it just seemed a little long and a little unnecessary.
Yeah, like they do it in every one of them when they kind of explain the last one.
And it just...
But this one did all of them.
Yeah.
Like in the other ones, it kind of just does the recap and the bare minimum of explaining it. In this one, it did the entire series.
Yeah.
To lead up to it. And that was a bit long.
It was a bit long. And it had a fight scene in reverse that then played out forward. It got long. It felt long. And that was my worst part of that movie for me, was the first couple of minutes. Otherwise, it got really good.
It only went uphill from there.
Yeah, they threw her another kid, kind of like an apocalypse, but, it wasn't bad.
Here, have a kid.
They keep trying to give her that Sigourney Weaver Aliens feel.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that well. So that's number 5, Resident Evil.
Awesome.
Moving right along to number 4 is a surprising movie because we weren't going to go see it until we went, why not?
Yeah, this was the one superhero movie that we swore to each other that we didn't want to see. We didn't want to go see.
The trailers looked lame.
Because the trailers looked so lame, and so we promised each other that we didn't go. And then after we had that whole thing with Batman, there was no other movies that were coming out that we would even see except for this one. And so we went, okay, fine, we'll just go watch this.
Ended up doing better. It's The Amazing Spider-Man.
It's The Amazing Spider-Man.
And it was actually an amazing,
it was great.
Far and away better than what Sam Raimi had done. And I like Sam Raimi as a director. It's far and away better. Andrew Garfield is a way better Peter Parker.
The one thing I said going into this movie, and I was really glad, like, this is what sold the movie for me, personally, besides all the awesomeness that went with it, but the fact that he made his own web.
Yeah.
Like, in the
Sam Raimi.
Yeah, the Sam Raimi one. Like, I didn't like that it was just in his skin.
Yeah.
Like, because I watched The Amazing Spider-Man, all that stuff, and I know he should be able to run out of web at some point.
It always makes for it's always the ending conflict of every Spider-Man comic book. He runs out of webbing, he's got to find another way to beat the bad guy.
And it's no fun if he never runs out.
Yeah.
But that's what I liked, is that not only did they do the he got bit by a spider and all this stuff, but they actually made it realistic where he made his own stuff. He was smart enough to, build all this stuff himself.
The movie did have to change the origin a bit, mainly because it had already been done very recently with Sam Raimi. So it isn't an exact retelling of the origin, but it's still good. It's still, as a comic book nerd, I accept that way more. The Lizard, amazing. Did such a good job. Dennis Leary's great. I love Dennis Leary. He's a good actor. Doesn't get much work, but he's good.
He's good in what he does.
He's good in what he does.
All in all, a great movie.
It is. It's a great movie. Definitely go check this one out right now. It's available at any video store. Go rent it. Go watch it. You'll be amazed.
Yeah.
Like we were. I mean, we could say so much more about this movie, but apparently words are failing us. This movie's awesomeness.
Yeah.
Which could only mean things are going to get even better as we progress down this list. So, moving right along to number 3.
The movie that most people that did guess that would have and did guess our top 10 would have never gotten.
Never got it. Never came close to it. And that is Eddie Murphy's 1,000 Words.
It was the most underappreciated movie this year.
Oh yeah, it was one of those shelved movies. It was shelved for 2 or 3 years before it finally came out. Mm-hmm. It had a really limited, wide release, and it was only for a short period of time. We ended up seeing it the same Friday The Hunger Games came out. Yeah. Not that we saw The Hunger Games at that same time. We saw The Hunger Games months later.
Yeah.
But this is what we saw instead. And it was a great movie. A lot of people said it had no message to it. It had no heart to it. But it actually has a very strong message of choose your words and how we talk.
And stop rushing through life and thinking that, if I get these things done and just move as quickly as possible, I'll be happy. It's more of a movie of appreciate the things around you and not try to rush through and get everything done and then try to think of the stuff that matters.
Yeah. Eddie Murphy is great in it. Highly suggested. It's not...
one of the few movies that kept us silent through the whole movie.
Oh yeah, except Boomtree.
Except Boomtree. That was the one where we were silent and then we both looked at each other and went, Boomtree? Boomtree.
And now it's an in-joke between us because no one else is ever going to watch this movie.
Yeah,
because
sadly.
It's still so underrated.
Even after it came out and everybody, it got reviews and stuff and people still were like, what, why? Why would I ever watch that? That looks boring.
But we really liked it.
It was really good.
It's an amazing movie. I bought this thing the day it came out on Blu-ray. Then again, any of these top 10 I bought the day they came out on Blu-ray. But that's when you really like movies, that's what you do.
That's your job.
But yeah, Eddie Murphy just blew the screen away. It's a great comeback to a career that was great and then it got
shelved for children's movies.
And the fact that he picked up a male prostitute just like a woman. And he had to fix his career.
And who hasn't made that mistake?
Seriously.
Really?
I mean, he makes that mistake on a weekly basis.
That's not funny.
And he always says, I thought it was a woman. Every time. I thought it was a hitchhiker needing a ride. I thought it was a woman.
I thought it was your mom.
He's used that one too.
Anyway, sure. 1,000 Words.
1,000 Words. Definitely go see this one. It's highly underrated. Go see it. Check it out.
You will enjoy it.
You will enjoy it. It's a good movie. Next up, we have The Avengers. And a lot of people just went, what the crap is that doing at number 2?
Yeah.
But it is number 2 to a far superior movie. But we're not at that movie yet. We're at The Avengers.
The Avengers is a great movie. As comic book people, I really enjoyed the Avengers, and I like their lead up to the Avengers.
Oh yeah,
I thought that the original Iron Man one was kind of weak. The Iron Man 2 one, the setup for it.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe is probably one of the most interesting things anyone's come up with in a long time for comic book movies. And I like putting my hand in front of your face. Look at that.
I know, because you like.
I like talking with my hand. My other hand's on a mouse, so I only have the one hand to talk with.
Yeah.
So I have to talk with this hand. But Avengers, it's amazing. It's got great pacing for a 2.5-hour movie.
Great acting.
Great. I mean, just phenomenal acting. I mean,
if you could pick, if I could pick people to play these roles, I wouldn't change them. Well, who?
I would have kept Edward Norton. I would have
found that one I will agree with.
I would have had Edward Norton.
I was talking about important people in this movie, not the
Mark Ruffalo does a great job as Bruce Banner.
He does.
But I liked Edward Norton. I liked Edward Norton better.
But I think it's funny that Robert Downey Jr. is to a T.
Oh yeah,
Tony Stark.
He is definitely
Tony Stark. It's not him acting. That's just his personality.
Seriously, and that's why he's already gonna have by the end of 2014 six times playing this part. 3 Iron Man movies, 2 Avengers movies, and they want him for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
To play Tony Stark in that too. So he's gonna have 6 outings with this character.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Because he's really good at it. Hemsworth brings it as Thor.
Yeah.
And just as good as he did in the original.
Yeah.
Chris Evans is just Mr. Comic Book, and he's just a great Captain America.
I think that somebody could put, okay, this isn't as funny to you as it is to me. Somebody could say, hey, play the Ant-Man. And he would go, okay, it's a comic book.
Yeah, I don't know who they're getting to play Ant-Man when they actually release that movie, but it won't be Chris Evans, mainly because that'll be Cinematic Universe. But yeah, Chris Evans, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the animated movie, The Losers. He's in Captain America, Fantastic Four. He does a bunch of comic book movies. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Yeah.
He does a bunch of comic book movies, and he's good in all of them.
He's a good actor.
He is. He's a good actor. Sam Jackson, man.
Sam Jackson.
Just a great Nick Fury.
Mr. Nick Fury.
He is Mr. Nick Fury. Then, of course, you got Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow.
Not bad.
Her opening in this movie is great.
It's great.
It's hilarious.
For an action superhero movie, this is hilarious. This movie's hilarious.
It's got so much comedy. I think they had to give other people comedy because Robert Downey Jr. was gonna have, because Tony Stark himself in the comics
was gonna be smart.
Was already like.
Yeah, he was gonna make crack jokes anyways, so they had to let everyone else do it.
So they had to be like, some people got it. Although the one joke that I thought was really funny that I was thinking, and then they put it in the movie almost as if they were thinking it while writing it. And went, yeah, people will like this. Was when Thor brings Loki down and he's talking to him. And he's like, let me tell you, brother. And then Tony Stark pushes him off the cliff. And then Loki just sits there and goes, I'm listening. That was the one that I thought was really funny.
I thought that one was good. I thought the Shakespeare in the Park line was really good.
Thus, mother, no, you weareth her drapes.
That's a great one. Yeah. Hulk punching Thor in the middle of the epic ending battle. That was great.
I love that had nothing to do with any, like, not that he had pissed him off.
Nothing.
Nothing. He just felt like hitting him.
I just feel like Hulk felt like he lost their first battle earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
So therefore he had to show him that it was a fluke win. So we just...
It was great.
Also, Hulk beating the crap out of Loki.
Yeah.
I am a god. Do you And he just...
I am a god. Do you understand?
So that scene, like, okay, I loved Darkwing Duck when I was a kid. One of my favorite episodes is when all the villains join together and Darkwing kind of puts together a group of heroes. And one of the running jokes of this two-part episode is something called Put Out the Darkwing, where this huge green dinosaur would... I've taken my hand off the mouse to make... This is how good, this is how important this one is. Grabs Darkwing and starts smashing him back and forth, screaming, put out the Darkwing, put out the Darkwing. Mm-hmm. And it's done like 3 times, and then they finally use it on one of the villains. When I saw Hulk grab Loki and start doing it, that's all I wanted to say was put out the Darkwing. Because that's what it looks like. And then you get the puny god.
Yeah.
Well, he's a demigod, but you know.
So, all in all...
Phil?
Yeah, that's where I was going to go first. I was going to go after I said, all in all, great movie.
Great movie.
Tony Stark, Iron Man, still my favorite comic book hero.
Mine's Batman, but you know, Batman did not do as well this year.
No, not my favorite comic book hero. My favorite comic book hero that's been in a movie so far. My favorite comic book hero is coming out later. Is Deadpool. That is my all-time favorite comic book hero ever. Anyway, but Phil. So if you know the movies, there is an agent named Phil. Okay, which is also a great... Yeah, Phil Coulson, which is also a great line in this movie.
His first name is Adrian.
Where Phil comes up to talk to Tony, and Pepper Potts is like, hey, Phil. He's like, wait, no, his first name is Agent. Anyway, but there's a scene in this movie where he dies, and no lie, in a theater full of comic book nerds, entire theater at midnight, when he dies, you heard most of the theater go, not Phil!
But it's an epic moment. He pulls out a gun that they made from the destroyer armor from Thor, and he's sitting there telling Loki that he doesn't know what it does. Loki stabs him, and then he shoots him.
And says, oh, that's what it does.
And Loki flies through like 3 walls of steel. That is how hard he's hit by this gun.
Yeah, it was pretty great. It was a fantastic scene. And then
by the way, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, great.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go too. I was a bit uneasy about Loki being the main.
He did good.
The main villain in the Avengers, because I thought they could have brought in other ones, but he did very well as Loki, and he did very well as a main villain.
He did. Well, they didn't have a lot of options, given that one of the Avengers' biggest villains is also a Fantastic Four villain and owned by a different company. Yeah. That's Doctor Doom.
But the one that's coming in the next one,
he might be Guardian of the Galaxies. They're not sure if he's. That's what the rumor is that
I thought they were
Thanos might be Guardian of the Galaxies villain.
No. I was talking about yeah. And then did you hear about the replacement they're getting?
No, I haven't heard who.
They were gonna put the Red Skull in there.
Yeah, because
and bring him back, and then switch those. Put Thanos in Guardians of the Galaxy, and then put
Red Skull in Avengers 2, which would make
that
sense.
I would be okay with.
That would be. I'd be okay with Hugo Weaving coming back as Red Skull. Probably another video we should do is the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
One of these days. That's a back burner like the Resident Evil one. But yeah, I mean,
when we're bored.
We've covered almost every actor in this movie but one, and that's because we have friends who are probably sitting there waiting for us to talk about this one actor, and that's Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner. So we all went midnight premiere, as one tends to do when you're retarded and nerdy.
And have no life. We dressed up. Like this.
Yeah, like that.
Like that.
Okay, so the guy in the middle there that has the black shirt.
With the H on it?
With the H on it. Okay, so he was going as Hawkeye.
I think it'd be really funny if I don't put this picture in.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, we're explaining it, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so he went as Hawkeye, and through this whole movie, me and him were sitting next to each other, and we were talking, and I was joking. I was like, yeah, Tony Stark's awesome. That's right. I did that, blah, blah, blah. We were going back and forth. We were having a lot of fun. And so, spoilers, if you haven't seen the movie, I don't know why you haven't seen the movie, but if you haven't seen the movie...
What are you doing watching this video again?
Seriously.
Go see it.
You should just go. You should just look up the whole list and just go see them and
start watching them.
Anyway, but so we were doing that, and then Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye gets touched with the glow stick of destiny, and he becomes his little minion thing. And so I looked at him and I went, "Yeah, you just got turned into a punk. What now? Blah blah blah." And then all this stuff, and then he comes back to the Avengers. After gets knocked in the head.
Yeah.
And
apparently then concussions make everything go better again. And then so they put him on top of the roof and he's shooting people down and he's doing really awesome stuff with his bow and whatever. And our friend is sitting there going, yeah, that's right. See that? I could just shoot a guy from across. Okay, so then he runs out of arrows, jumps off a building, shoots one his last arrow, swings into the building, and then is done. And so I looked at him and I went, yeah, that's right. Not only were you a punk when you got touched with the glow stick of destiny, but now you're a punk because without arrows, you can't do nothing. Jeremy Renner didn't do bad in the movie. It was a great moment right there. It was like, well, now he's got nothing more to do. Now he is a punk. Yeah, he's got nothing left. But Tony Stark, man, let me tell you, he can throw nukes into space. He can fly around with a broken suit. But yeah, go see the Avengers. He has great banter with Loki. He has great banter with everyone. Go see the Avengers. Highly recommend. If you haven't already seen it, watched it, or seen it, rented it, or bought it, I don't know what you are doing. Yeah, you need to get on it. This one and our number one movie of the year. Those are the two you need to watch. Most people won't like our number one. True, but we like our number one. Yeah. But before we get to that number one, we have a different number one, and that number one is the worst movie of the year we've seen so far. The entire year. I'm setting down the mouse and the book so I can properly talk about this gem of a cinematic movie. This movie. It's barely a movie. So as we said way back in episode 1 during This Means War, we saw a double feature that night. Yeah. This is the other half of that double feature. This is what we sat through. Which we got surprised with when we got into the theater. We got the ticket and we were told, oh, it's a double feature. So we're like, oh, let's stay and watch the second half. I'm so glad we paid full ticket price for This Means War and no extra, because this movie's not worth $1. And that, just so we can actually get the title of this movie out, is Chronicle. Yeah. You should just not burn it. Remember when I said don't even rent it, watch it, don't let your kids watch it? Ever. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Don't do it. Alright, first and foremost, I'm going to start off with a positive. It's not a bad concept. No. It's not a bad concept at all. Now that I've said it's not a bad concept, they decided to make it a found footage film, much like Blair Witch Project, Quarantine, all those sucky movies. Yeah. Where everything has to be shot through real cameras. Not like cameras that are there. Hand cameras. Cameras that are actually there and can be visible in any shot. Yeah. Which is just a horrible concept for any movie. Any movie should It gives you a headache. And it was like you can do that. Like movies have done that without doing it bad. Extreme. Like you can, like there's a couple scenes where they fly because they get superpowers from this alien rock thing. Yeah. But there are a couple scenes where they fly, and I was okay with him filming that, but then there are times where they have full conversations in the sky, and I felt as if that could have been shot as a shot and not
from a hand camera.
It was one thing. It's kind of interesting to put in a movie occasionally, but to make an entire movie, an action movie, based around this concept, it is bad. It doesn't work. And because you went with that concept, trying to make it look like it really happened, you can't get good actors, because good actors are recognizable, and none of these people were good actors. You get it's a crappy plot because you need to find a way to stick that camera in every scene and record all of these moments. And
although the one thing that I did like...
Ooh, we have another positive.
But this is just the one positive that I had about the movie. Just because I like how... I don't like the concept of, well, this kid gets bullied on, then he goes crazy, and then somehow somebody talks him down.
If you want to see it, go see Akira.
Yeah, and they live happily ever after. I don't like that concept.
This one does.
I don't...
Does Akira ends the same way.
Yeah.
But still go see Akira.
I know, but I'm talking like...
I know, those types of movies.
I hate those types of movies, because I'm always sitting there going, yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
But this one flipped it, because not only did he go crazy in a big way, like crazy to the point where he killed people.
Yeah, he was killing people.
But the way they ended this movie was him getting killed, not him just getting killed, speared.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with a huge spear just straight through the stomach. Yeah. It was great. And I was like, that's how you kill a person. I don't care how bad he was bullied. He just killed a whole bunch of people. That's how you stop an alien.
Yeah.
It was great.
Overall, this movie is
but, yeah.
Waste of an hour and a half. It might have been longer.
But even with that,
it's
still a waste of money. It's just a really bad movie.
It is. It's a solid concept executed in every way that would make it suck.
Yeah.
Every way. And you never got into it. I never got into this movie at any point.
I could, even when I started to, I just couldn't because of the camera.
Yeah.
Like, every time I was like, okay, I can kind of understand. The camera just messed me up.
Because all of a sudden you'd be like, okay, I'm kind of getting... What just happened? Oh, okay, of course. Okay, they're throwing the camera around. That's... Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we just shoot this practically and let the kid who's filming his life for posterity film his life for posterity? We don't actually need to be watching his posterity filmed life.
Yeah.
We can get that idea and still have it look good.
Anyway.
Because it doesn't add to the movie.
Bad movie. Don't see it.
If you watched it,
I'm sorry.
Why?
We had to. I'm sorry you did. By choice.
If you watch this movie by choice.
Although if you watched it for the double feature, I don't feel as sad for you.
No. Because you got This Means War. And This Means War wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It redeemed itself from Chronicle.
But yeah, Chronicle, it's the absolute worst thing we saw this year. And we saw it on Valentine's Day. So there have been 10 months of movies we have watched.
That was a weird... Like,
that's a weird double feature.
Like, This Means War is kind of a Valentine's movie, and that one's just like way over the top at the other end of the spectrum.
But yeah, so, 10 months, nothing worse than Chronicle.
Yeah.
So don't see it. I've never even considered watching it a second time.
Yeah.
I see it at used video stores, and there are always stacks of, 8 copies on Blu-ray sitting there, and I giggle every time because that is people who bought that movie going, this is going to be good, and then watched it and went... Why did I ever watch this?
Which makes me feel better because it's not only us.
Yeah, it's not just us. Other people think this movie sucks too.
Yeah.
So, worst movie of the year, Chronicle. Now, moving all the way to the other side of the spectrum, best movie of the year, hands down, number one for so many reasons, which we're going to cover, Prometheus.
So if you don't like the alien movies,
what is wrong with you?
Yeah. But no, there are people out there. So, if you don't like the Alien movies, then you won't like this one.
No, because it's a prequel.
Yeah. But this movie has so many good qualities. Not only is it a good movie standing by itself.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie added on to the Aliens movie. And it's the epitome of perfect 3D.
Oh, yeah. This is amazing 3D. Amazing detail. Even without the 3D, this movie, Ridley Scott goes into so much detail. One of our favorite scenes is there's a moment where a character has a goop on his hand.
He's like, no, it's like this. It's on his thumb. And he goes like this and spreads it out.
And you can see all the particles inside the goop.
And all the ridges in his thumb. And there's
all that detail.
Print on it and everything.
Because he's an android, so it's a Weyland-Yutani print.
Yeah.
All that detail just right there. It was amazing. The 3D actually looked good at all times.
It wasn't like in your face 3D like normal 3D. It wasn't like this is 3D. It was like normal shot, but the dimensions were there.
It was a good perspective.
Yeah.
Like 3D where I think I mentioned this in an earlier video, or at least I thought about mentioning it. There's a scene where they're walking and they're in front of, and they're in the background, and in front of the rocks they're walking behind, and it's just such a nice 3D shot because you actually get good perspective and depth.
No, you're telling Sean about that.
I was telling Sean.
Say it, didn't you?
It was good perspective. It's a good depth shot.
Yeah. And
that's what sold me on its 3D. Like, it was
the finger thing is what got me.
He got the finger thing. I like the finger thing. That depth shot, though, that was spot on what 3D should look like. Great story, though, to go along with this. We went with a friend who we coerced into going with us to see this movie.
She hates horror movies. She hates horror movies,
science fiction movies,
movies that have some sort of like gore, anything in
Nightmare Before Christmas style animation.
Yeah. She just hates lots of types of movies.
So when the stuff starts happening in this movie and the aliens start attacking things, not the actual aliens, but like earlier versions of the facehuggers and all that, she starts hiding behind the popcorn bucket and threatening to puke in the popcorn bucket, which is very unsettling.
So we were telling her, like, we were actually being good friends. We were telling her, you know what, go. This is not a scary scene. Nothing's happening. And so go right now, and then whatever. And she
doesn't trust us at all.
She thought we were joking with her. She thought we were just trying to get her to look at the screen at something scary.
And by the time she finally goes, okay, I'll leave, she moves the popcorn bucket right as the next scary thing happens. Yeah. So she has now killed all of her time to get out of here. She sees it, hides behind the popcorn, and bolts out of the theater
with the popcorn and like on the side of her face. It was kind of amusing.
And we sat and watched the rest of the movie.
Yeah, but another fun, awesome thing about this movie was I liked. I don't know if we liked, but I liked the early versions of the facehuggers.
Yeah,
the long ones that look like snakes.
Oh yeah,
I like those ones, and then. There was the big part of this movie is that one of the chicks gives birth to
not birth per se, but has one inside of her.
And it rips apart, rips open, comes out, and like you don't see it for a good portion of the movie. Like you see it contained in this room, and then it kind of just
and then they have about a half hour movie, and then she finally comes back.
Yeah, and then. Towards the end of the movie, I love the facehuggers. That was the main. That was the big thing for me for the whole alien concept was the facehuggers. That's one of the things that I love. But at the end of this movie, the very end of this movie, they walk in and there's a huge facehugger, like the size of this room, like huge. And it's just
spoiler alert.
Sorry, I forgot to say that. And it's sitting in the room, and it goes in.
Grabs one of the creator aliens of all of this stuff, and they're huge, very human looking. Apparently they created the human race, and it grabs it and they're fighting, and that's how the main girl gets away, is because this guy is fighting this giant facehugger, and obviously the giant facehugger wins.
Yeah. And gets a hold of his face, and then it doesn't end there. And then it shows the girl running away.
And does a bunch of other stuff, which is interesting, sets up for a sequel.
Yeah, and then at the very, very end, the last scene in this movie is the guy laying on the ground, and then he starts to like shake and convulse, and you think he's having a seizure, and then his whole entire body rips open, and the lowest form of the alien comes out, and he sits up and goes, and like the little thing comes out just a little bit, like not all the way like it normally does. But just a little bit, and that's the ending scene to this movie.
Oh, yeah. They actually brought in H.R. Geiger, the guy who designed the aliens in Alien, to come in and actually de-evolve all of his designs. So that was really nice that Ridley Scott went to that much detail. There's also a great moment I noticed where they're walking to a chamber, and it's full of stasis pods. And if you look really close, one of the stasis pods, it looks like it has a hole where the chest of one of these things would be. Because I pointed that out to you, that it looks like a chest burster popped through and got out into something. Not that that's elaborated at all in this movie. It was just something I noticed. And looking at the space jockey, and It was just a
really great movie. Like, for all the questions that most people had about the entire Alien series, that's the word I'm trying to think of the whole time I've been saying. The whole Alien series, most of the questions were answered in this one movie. Yeah. Was that they went, okay, these are the things that people had an issue with, these are the people that things, and they explained most of them in this movie. But the one thing, and we came to a conclusion about why this is after, but the one thing that I had a problem with was the fact that in Aliens, the technology is so downgraded, and I understand because back then when they made Aliens, they didn't
technology looked great.
Yeah, they didn't have the technology we have now, and so I understand why they have to do it, but it was just, as this being a prequel, theirs was just so advanced than the other one. But because we agreed upon
discussed that
one was a warship.
Yet the Nostromo's was essentially a giant space U-Haul. Yeah. So it didn't need as much technology as this investigation ship that's actually doing scientific research and all of that.
It needs all of that.
Very high-tech equipment.
Yeah. But so I do have to throw in my one line from this movie was so they're riding into this planet and they see this thing that looks like a mountain. It looks like a little mountain, and one of the guys turns to him and says, "Is that a runway?" And he goes, "God doesn't build in straight lines." Yeah, because literally, like, they're flying over it. It's like a straight line to this mountain, like paved out. That was one of the things that I like. God doesn't build in straight lines.
And they are making a sequel about the character going to the planet of these engineers. Yeah. So that's coming out, and that I'm excited for that.
Especially after this.
Oh yeah, after this, I'm really excited for that. So go see Prometheus, go see the Avengers, go see 1,000 Words, go see
all of these. Go see all of these.
Go see them all. They're all really good movies. These are the best of 2012.
I was gonna say they are ones that you should own.
Yeah, they are owned. Any of them that are out on DVD and Blu-ray right now, I own. So right now. Yeah. I mean, outside of Campaign Chronicle and Ghost Rider, because those movies sucked, and I don't plan on owning them.
Yeah, but as of right now, he owns all the ones in the top 10.
Yeah, because the only ones that aren't available right now are Resident Evil, and I think there's one more. Hold up, give me 1 second. Because I know the Resident Evil and The Dark Knight are the only two that aren't currently available, and I'm going to get those when they come out, and they come out before the end of the year.
But great movies.
Great movies.
We really enjoyed watching them.
Oh, yeah. Well worth the ticket price on each one. Even, like, Hunger Games, I would have paid full price to see. That, I think, was the only one we saw in budgets that made the top 10.
No, we saw the Amazing Spider-Man budget.
Nope, Amazing Spider-Man was Hollywood and Green Bay and...
Oh, yeah, because I was with the comfy seats.
Yeah, I was with the comfy seats.
Anyway, these great movies, Prometheus, without a doubt, best movie of the year.
Hands down, best movie of the year. Go see them, rent them.
If you watch Prometheus and still don't think so, like, actually pay attention to it and still don't think it's the best movie, then I don't understand.
It's your opinion. We think you're wrong, but, you know.
I just don't understand. Like, the amount of detail of thought that went into this movie, I don't understand why it's not top movie.
But yeah, so this is it. This is our top 10. Yep. We are not seeing anything
that will make
in the future that's going to beat out any of these. No. Watch the past videos. Stay tuned for what we've got coming up. We're going to, as we stated, Resident Evil, Marvel Cinematic Universe are on the agenda. Our favorite movies of all time are on the agenda. Yeah. Red Dawn, Rise of the Guardians, Les Mis.
Yeah, Hitchcock when it comes out.
A lot of movies in 2013. Expect a 2013 wish list at some point in the future. So to stay tuned to this channel, and if you got any comments, hit us up. If you think we put a movie in the wrong spot in this top 10, let us know. We can debate.
If you think a movie should have made it in there, if you have any tweaks to our top 10 whatsoever, let us know.
And we might cover it in a future video.
Yeah, we might cover why, or cover the video itself, or the movie itself.
All right, so I'm Martin.
I'm Zach.
And for 2012, the top 10 movies of the year,
we're out.